today I have a very special guest. I have Dr. Maria Rodriguez. She is my doctor, she's my climbing partner, and she is my roommate. Maria did her medical training at UT Southwestern in Dallas, Texas, which is where we met. Now she is a resident at LA General. She's in her second year in the neurology concentration, and basically how I describe neurology to people who don't know about it is I just say it's like obviously with the brain, but it's with headaches, with stroke, with Parkinson's, and not surgery, because I feel like that's a question you probably get asked a lot.
Key.
Yeah, that is key. You now have moved from Dallas to Los Angeles, and that's where you've been living for the past year. And yeah, I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself for anything that I missed.
Yeah, no, that was great. I would just add, I'm not his doctor. There's some ethical issues with that. I'm your consultant.
Okay.
And I tell him to go to the doctor. And LA General / USC CAC.
/CAC, yes. Yeah. And for the difference for the audience, CAC is the private hospital, LA General is the county hospital.
Yes, and CAC is associated with a university.
Nice, USC, cool. Yeah, let's get out of the intros and into our first topic. So I've asked a lot of my guests about AI to a mixed bag of responses. In general, what I find a lot of the people that I've asked work in like big corporate settings. They work for companies like Nike, like Chase, like Bain, and at least right now in their professions, there's not a ton of AI adoption, but I'm interested in the medical field where it's notorious for having like HIPAA compliances, like very secure data regulations, how AI has come into your work so far.
Yeah, that is an interesting question because I feel like now we're seeing more adoption of it. But like when I was training in medical school, it was like we're afraid of what AI could mean, right? It's like, oh, do we need doctors? Like computers are more certain, right? They know the answers. Especially initially it was like radiology. Mm-hmm. It's a great field, very nuanced, but it's heavily reliant on like images, and people were like, oh, radiologist? No.
Yeah, they're cooked.
Yeah, they're cooked. Yeah. They're gone. 2 more years. Whereas now I feel like we're adopting it as a tool. Mm-hmm. And for example, in radiology, they have like some programs that will screen images for high risk, like easy to miss diagnoses. For example, like a CT head with, if there's blood in there, if there shouldn't be blood in your head, the AI program kind of alerts a radiologist who is a trained medical professional, doctor, to go look at the screening, to look at that image again.
I see.
So that's helpful, right? So maybe they would have been like, oh, that's a normal scan. Maybe.
Yeah, what about other, so you went over radiology, which is very image-based.
Well, that's the initial vibe was like, radiologists are cooked, but now they're using it as a tool. And then more recently, because doctors spend a lot of time doing like documentation and other tasks that we're like, you don't go into medicine to like, oh, I want to write 20 notes a day. Now we're using AI to help facilitate those required, very important like tasks that a doctor has to do in order to do a good job. Mm-hmm. And it's very fun. I myself am using like AI, HIPAA compliant,
important,
very important dictation software that kind of like listens to our conversation and then creates a template, like a note draft for me to use as part of my documentation, and then I can just like copy paste it to my note, which saves a lot of time. And it saves a lot of like thinking time, because I feel like when you're listening to a patient, you're like, oh, I gotta remember the order of the details, because then I'm gonna have to go present it to like my attending. But also you want to remember the order, but you still want to start thinking about like what's going on, like what is their problem. People are not going to be like, oh, I have migraines. It's like, okay, no, I have a headache, and then they'll go through it. So that also kind of frees up some space to start thinking about diagnoses. I will say, it's very useful. I do feel reassured that AI is not going to take my job anytime soon, because when I take my own notes, like I know not to include that they went to Debbie's birthday last Sunday. Like a patient will bring that up. They'll be like, oh, last Sunday at Debbie's birthday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that just because it'll make the note super long. But AI, it's just summarizing what we talk about.
Yeah.
It does like have it does like know some medical terminology, and it knows how to implement it correctly, which is, I was a bit surprised by that, but like it won't like digest the information, and what I'm thinking in my head is not going to be in the note. I have to go back and like edit it.
Right.
Yeah, and AI compliance, I don't know, but I'm not allowed to use random software. It has to be like approved.
No ChatGPT at work.
No ChatGPT at work.
Yeah.
Unless for personal reasons. But
Yeah. I mean, one thing, just for like the general audience that I didn't know about is like how much note taking doctors have to do. When I watch like Scrubs or like The Pit, they're just going from patient to patient. They're like, what do you need? And it was like, let's get statin or let's get this drug, and they just like immediately start giving to them. They're never showing like, let me type on my computer and like write this note. But like you said, it's a big part of your job, and it's really important, right? Because when you're inpatient and you're taking care of patients who have to stay in the hospital, the next doctor after your shift will find that note really helpful. It's good for documentation, like you said. So that makes a lot of sense, and I really like that use case for AI because like doctors already know how to write notes. You've been doing it for a long time since you're a medical student, and like you said, like that frees up time and like your mental energy to really be like actively listening to the patient better, thinking of diagnoses, and not worried about like memorizing things for your note. And I think that's like one of the better / like best use cases for AI is when it's doing something that's like really simple that frees your space to do the things that humans and like doctors are trained for, versus I always am worried that if people are too reliant on AI, they won't like think and like know how to do diagnoses for themselves. But it sounds like that's not where AI is being used in the medical space.
Yeah, I think a bigger part that I also did think about was that patients appreciate it when I'm not there like typing. I just ask them like, hey, I'm going to use this application to record a conversation, and that'll allow me to like have a conversation with you, and that way I can look at them and like have a more natural flowing conversation instead of being like typing at the computer. So so far it's good.
That's awesome. How do you feel about, we were watching TV the other day and we saw the Amazon Alexa commercial where the woman is on a flight and she's on Amazon and she's like basically using a chatbot to ask questions about a headache or something, and then she lands after her flight and immediately like picks up a prescription.
Is she using a chatbot?
I think she was describing her diagnoses.
Yeah, but was it a chatbot or like was it 24/7 medical care?
Oh, I can't remember actually.
Yeah, because I saw that commercial as like, oh, you're in a red eye in the middle of the night and you need to talk to a medical professional right now? Sure.
I think you're right. I think it wasn't AI. I think it's actually that.
Which I don't know if you need to talk to your medical professional at that time. Like, yes, you need medical care.
Mm-hmm. It can wait, is what you're saying.
But maybe go home, land.
Sleep on it. Just go to bed.
Don't be on a plane, first
Okay.
of all. And then at 8 a.m. in the morning, you can message your medical professional.
Mm-hmm.
They're still there. It's just not 2 a.m. And yeah.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, let's talk about our next topic. I think dating is always just kind of a fun topic for people to talk about. One thing I've noticed from meeting a lot of your friends and your classmates when you're in med school is just how common this pairing of, most of the time it's like a female doctor and a male tech bro or someone in tech. And I guess I'll go first on why I think this is a pretty common pairing. I think one, most of our friends from college, I would say, they're in industries like finance, they're like consulting, they're engineers, they're doctors, like lawyers, teachers. And out of all those fields, like engineers and tech and doctors are the ones that are most like sciencey. So even though you don't think of tech and medicine as being adjacent, they're both, and basically they like science and they're probably nerds. So they have like a lot of that in common.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we have a lot in common, but there's also a lot that's extremely different. And a lot of people like to say, oh, I don't want to get off work and immediately start talking about work with my partner and friends. And I'm not that type of person. Like, I enjoy talking about work, but at the same time, we have like such different experiences when we talk about our days, right? Like, you are actively talking to patients, like patient care is huge. It's still very analytical. I know you do research, stats is still come into play. Versus tech, it's very different. Sometimes we don't get a lot of that social interaction, especially dealing with clients for the most part. And in a way, patients are basically your clients. And we don't have, I feel like your day-to-day where you talk to every patient that you carry, and then you present all of your situation to like your attending doctor is something that's completely different from most people's like tech day-to-day jobs. Most of the time we have like stand up with our team, and then we might work independently, and then we like deal with issues, but it's so different. So we have a lot in common, we have a lot different. And then two, a lot of like your friends and that I've met are, went to medical school, were actively in medical school or in doing residency, which is a time where it's very inflexible. They tell you to do something, you work these long shifts, and then you just have to do it. And you don't get as much like planned vacation, you don't get to make your own hours. And in the tech world, all that stuff like doesn't exist, right? So our hours are a lot of times more flexible. We get to pick our vacation. There's remote work, there's like work from home. And so in a lot of ways, we can work around your schedule. And I think we were talking, either Jess or Claire were saying that, if both people have really inflexible schedules, it's really hard. It's harder to make it work, of course. You can do it. But if you come off like a night shift and then I have a day shift, and then we don't have any flexibility, it's like, I guess we're not going to see each other this week. So a lot of cases, I think one person's flexible, the other person has this very rigid schedule. I think that makes it all work.
Yeah. No, that's, I think, the highest reason why these relationships work and they exist. We also have friends who are like in other flexible roles, like consulting or like
I would not say consulting is flexible.
working at home. Yes, well, all of other jobs. There's medical jobs and other jobs. So, anyways, why tech bros?
Why tech bros?
Why tech bros? Yeah, you guys are also passionate. I think people who are in medicine have to be very passionate about what they do. Either like the content is so like intellectually stimulating, you have to have like empathy for your doctors, for your patients. also for your fellow
For your
doctors.
doctors. Wait, you should tell them about your pin that you wear to work every day.
Yeah, sure. I wear a pin that was given to me by my union. I don't even know what it says. It says, work for the doctors that work for you, or care for the doctors that care for you.
It's like, be nice to me, essentially.
Well, it's mostly because we're bargaining our contract.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's still funny. It's funny because patients see that, so they're like, huh?
They're not reading my pins, okay? But what was I going with that? Basically, we're passionate about our work.
Yeah.
And tech bros are also passionate about their work. Have you spoken to a tech bro about their work? They're passionate about it. And I think that it's fun to like tell your partner, like teach them a little bit about what you do and share with them and get that like outside perspective from someone who has a completely different perspective. So yeah, I think cumulatively we know a lot of tech bro doctor partnerships going strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you that a couple of my
And you
coworkers.
can go on vacation when I have vacation, so that's good.
Yeah. No, I was telling you that a couple of my coworkers, even ones that are a little bit older than me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've been in like their wives are doctors.
Yeah, we know doctors who have tech bro partners, and we know tech bros who have doctor partners.
Yeah. So both ways. We have a pretty, not an insane sample size, but a decent one anecdotally. At least a more than just anecdotal now. It's a small handful. One thing, and I thought when I was thinking about this and I was coming up with my 3 reasons, I was trying to think, are there any like male doctors, female tech bros? But I do think, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of women in technology and in what Claire had called hard sciences, but I think they're called physical sciences, right? Engineering, physics. And because of that disparity, we just don't see as many male doctors, female tech bros. But I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who my male doctor colleagues, what their significant others'
What about your attendings, do you know?
jobs are. There's a lot of doctor-doctor relationships.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I don't really know.
You don't ask them about their wives or their partners. You're like, cool, good to work with you. See ya.
Well, I haven't worked with them.
See you later.
I've just been inducted into neurology.
Yeah.
So.
All right, the next section. So it's called No Question Too Stupid. It's a bunch of questions that I wouldn't ask my actual PCP, but since we're close, I'll ask them to you, and I have a list. And after I ask you, these are rapid fire questions, so feel free to spend like 30 seconds. I probably won't follow up that much. And if you have any questions at the end for me, I'll let you get to it.
Okay.
All right, I have my list. Here we go. First one, hot topic. How does Ozempic work in 30 seconds?
In 30 seconds. I think big picture, the way that I remember it, because do I know how all medications work off the top of my head? Ideally, but not really. It delays gastric emptying.
Okay.
So
is that like pooping?
No, like actually your stomach, it keeps the food in your stomach longer.
Oh.
And appetite and eating is like a huge topic in medicine, not only because we have like people with like overweight problems, but there's also a lot of like people who have food aversions, and it's just eating essential to life. There's a lot of research that goes into it, and basically the way that there's a lot of signals in your body that like brain signals, stomach signals, intestine signals, like everything is like communicating. So Ozempic basically disrupts that feeling of my stomach is empty.
Wow.
And then you're not as hungry.
I'm glad I asked. I never knew that's how Ozempic
But
works.
it's technically a GLP-1 inhibitor.
Yeah. I've okay. Next question. All right. So, if I sleep, I exercise, I eat healthy, and I have like friends and family and good like social interactions. Does this prevent most bad illnesses? Genetics aside, but non-genetic disorders, does this prevent like basically 99% of them?
Yeah.
Cool.
I would say that.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Okay.
All right. I want to know this because you showed me this video about how who are the kidney doctors?
Yeah, nephrology.
Nephrologists.
Renal.
Yeah. How you showed me this joke how nephrologists are joking about drinking water. Do we need to drink like a gallon of water? Is that ideal? Do we need to drink that much water?
Well, it depends. Basically, that was to do with the fact that, again, everything's connected in your body. So if you're thirsty, that's your body saying, I need water. So you don't have to reach the like 1 gallon, like whatever, for your like metabolism, for like your renal health. But you should be staying hydrated, you know. Most people drink like no water. Okay, so you gotta be like, you need to drink so much water. So hopefully they drink like a normal amount of water, but basically you just need to like stay hydrated. If you're drinking caffeinated beverages, you need to make sure you're drinking water throughout the day. If you live in LA with the sun being down on you and you walk to work and you're always in the sun, like you need to make sure you're drinking enough water. But
is there benefit to more water?
Well, it's also like some people drink a lot of water for like, again, like that feeling of satiety. It's part of their like diet goals or whatever, their lifestyle. So it's not gonna hurt you unless you do it in a very short amount of time.
Who would do that?
I don't know.
All right. Okay. You don't have to answer this one, but how much do doctors make on the low end, on the average end, and on the high end? And this can be specialty, like non-dependent.
Okay.
How much does the average doctor make?
I have no idea. I would love to know that too.
How much do you think they make?
I think they can make anywhere between like $150,000 to like definitely like $1 million.
Yeah.
That's like rare.
We heard of surgeons.
Yeah, like surgeons would make that much. But like I feel like a lot of surgeons or other high earning doctors are making like 500,000. That's like a really high earning doctor. I think the majority of non-surgical specialties are probably aiming to make at least like $200,000 to like $400,000, which is a big range.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay,
yeah,
most people are probably aiming for like 300. Not gonna lie. 200 is. The thing is, like, all other medical professionals make $200,000. So like, part of it is like, we did all this extra training, so it should reflect our compensation. But at some point, you're like, if you're like, I want $400,000. No, I want like $500,000. Like you're making enough money, probably. But
yeah, we'll see if you have to deal with those problems.
We have to work hard. We do a lot of work, so.
Yeah, your 24-hour shifts, I always say that should be like illegal. That's crazy, 24 straight hours of being awake.
But they're not illegal.
But they're not illegal.
But they're not illegal.
Right.
So there's that.
All right. What do you think makes a good doctor to work with? What do you think makes a good doctor to work with, and what do you think makes a good doctor to have as a patient?
Well, you want a doctor that is well liked by their peers, first of all, as a patient. A doctor to work with. I had a doctor tell me that you have to be affable, available, and something else.
So just friendly and there.
Well, that's the two bigger parts of like someone you want to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to call them and they're not there.
Wait, is the other A like effective doesn't start with A, but do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
smart.
probably good at your work. Yeah.
What's a word? What's a letter? What's a word that starts with A?
Accurate? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably not. But the two biggest parts are really like you have to be nice and available so other people want to work with you, right? Like that's just in general. But yeah, if you also like you have to be trustworthy, that you have to know that you're sending your patient to someone that you believe is a good doctor. But yeah, especially in hospitals, there's a lot of interpersonal situations that come up, so you have to be nice to people and respectful.
Why?
And
okay,
it gets hard. That's hard sometimes, okay? Because you're like on your 24-hour shift and you're like super tired and you're talking to different specialties who have different knowledge, different perspectives, and they might ask you like a simple question, and you're like, how do you not know that? But it's because they don't know that, and you need to be respectful like that. Yeah.
What about doctors to have when you're seeing your PCP? What's your ideal PCP look like?
Ideal PCP, I think, has to know, well, PCPs specifically.
Okay, no, just I guess more broadly, just if you're going to specialist PCP, inpatient, outpatient.
Okay, they have to be, of course, knowledgeable about their specialty, or what they're there to take care of you. And I think guidelines are important. Like there's certain guidelines that kind of are part of preventative care. They should be aware of those things, and most of them are. Like that's a big part of being a practicing doctor. But it's just, I think, as someone who considers himself healthy, like you need to trust that your doctor is doing all the recommended screenings, and also they have to be aware of the patient as a whole. So you don't want a doctor that is like so centered on their specialty that they ignore other things. At least they should be aware enough to send you to the right provider. You're like, oh, you need to go back to your PCP. If your specialist says you need to go to your PCP, it's not because they're like, this is not my problem. Like, it's because I believe your PCP is better suited to manage this issue. And also someone should be aware of you as like a whole. And they have to be nice to you.
So it sounds like nice and respectful.
Nice and respectful. Yeah. All around.
I have one. I can't add to what doctors are good to work with, but for me, as a patient, the doctors that I've had probably just the best experiences with are, for me, like, based off my preferences, someone who, I know it's not their job to teach, but explain like how they came to their conclusions in language that I can understand. And one reason why I feel strongly about this is because even in your PCP, you see, not very often in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, if you're healthy, you probably see them once a year, if that, if you choose to do a screening every year. But even if, let's say you need to go to the doctor a lot, maybe once a month, it's still not a lot. At the end of the day, each of us are responsible for our own health. So if a doctor is giving me recommendations, they're like, do this or do this, like you need to eat less sodium, I want to know a little bit like why, because then if I know why, then it just makes it easier for me to follow the recommendation. I don't love, you always call me like a contrarian, but they say like, take this drug. I want to know why, right? I don't want to just put things in my body and it affects like, systems in my body. I want to know like, oh, you need this because it lowers this, which is good for your long-term health. So
yeah. No one should be like demanding you take medications.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. No one's doing that. Patients can advocate for themselves and ask questions. Sometimes doctors, if you're in a field for 30 years, you're like doing the same thing over and over again. So they might forget. But usually when you start someone on a new treatment plan, or like you're counseling them for something new, that's like a whole like chip change, you're like, okay, time to counsel about this new drug, new side effects, new reasons, like why. So a good doctor should be doing that already. And feel free to ask any questions, even the stupid ones. You can. That's a reasonable question. How does Ozempic work?
Okay.
That is very reasonable.
How much do you make?
Do not ask them how much money they make, unless you're friends like that.
Okay.
But.
All right, last one for me. All right, so let's say you have a kid tomorrow, and they are open / like anything. Would you want them to go into a career in medicine? And if not, what are, I guess, some of the handful of careers you'd be like, that'd be great if my kid did this?
Would I be open for them to do medicine? Yes, if that's something.
Well, like I guess this hypothetical is like your dream professions for your child, assuming they like
my dream profession.
Everything and
they can go to bakery school. They can be a patisserie, and then.
Are you sure this isn't self-centered?
Really, I thought that was the whole point of the question. What is your dream career for your children? If they have a very successful bakery
that'd be nice.
That happens to have all my favorite treats, like, what more can a parent ask for? You know.
That's a good one. But would you
are also open to join any baking school if you're choosing.
Okay.
And I will support your dreams.
All right, tomorrow I'm sending in my app.
Okay.
Partly the reason I asked this is you went through so much medical school. You're still in the midst of your residency, and it's a lot of work. Do you think assuming like your kid likes other things, would you be like, hey, you should consider being a doctor? It's a lot of training, but
yeah, I mean, I want to be the type of parent that doesn't point their kids towards something. I want to like encourage them to find something that they're passionate about. But if I believe that they're someone who would enjoy that as a career, and for some reason they're directionless, and like I would consider like telling them about medicine, but I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to push them towards like one thing or the other. I feel like that's not my job.
Okay. I just wanted to know if you were like, no, don't do it. Don't. It's a scam.
My job is to make sure they don't do drugs.
Okay.
Drugs are bad for you, okay?
Okay.
Not because they make you feel good.
Before we move on to our last segment, do you have any rapid fire questions that you have for me about tech, about anything, climbing?
Yeah.
Virginia.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Would you live in Virginia again? Forever?
Yeah, I would. It's a nice place. 4 seasons. Not too cold. I know it's important to you.
That's important.
Biggest reason, when you were making your match list, my top priority was walkability, honestly. And I always said, I could live in like Boise, I could live in like Mayo Clinic, wherever. I think if it's not walkable, it's easier to feel isolated. You don't get as much like exercise, time to walk around. In general, I feel like I can make friends in most places. To some extent, I can find a job in most places. But I can't like improve public transit or how close things are. So DC is appealing to me in that way. Most East Coast cities, right? Just for historical reasons. Cars weren't invented when DC was around, when Boston, when New York, when I'm sure even Pittsburgh or some of those East Coast cities. So yeah, I would live in Virginia.
Okay, in medicine, I think in medical training, a lot of friendships are forged through common trials and suffering.
Okay. I agree.
In a fun way.
I agree.
Yeah. what do tech bros complain to each other about? And they're like, dude, I know. Oh my gosh.
All right, good question. Good question. When I was in corporate, it would be like corporate politics and middle management, things like that, right? Like, oh, this person got promoted? What the heck? Or like, so office drama about like the systems and things like that. And one thing that drove me crazy and why I left corporate and I left Chase is because a lot of times it's political. In early career, actually, a lot of times everyone just follows the same track, right? Everyone gets promoted at the same time, gets the same raises and bonuses. So it kind of de-incentivized me a little bit. And then when you get to, say, like in the middle, it seemed very political. So yeah, when I was in that world at Chase, that was the things we complained about or ripped on. Nowadays, I think
it's so
it's
perfect.
It's all great.
It's like, what are you doing on your time off? On your, what was it called? Like,
what?
You don't have like a certain amount of days?
Just unlimited PTO.
What are you doing on your unlimited PTO?
No. There are definitely things we all kind of complain / talk about. One being, I think a lot of us feel AI. It's not that it's not incredibly useful. You just described with the dictation how useful it can be, but I think a lot of us feel a little bit worried how much funding, how much hype, how much like marketing, how much it's in the news. It's just too much, right? And I've made this example before. There are some products, I described one called Cursor, right? And it's on my computer and you see me use it sometimes. But I think what they did really well is they didn't market themselves as this thing that could just replace engineers and would promise like perfect code, right? It promised itself is, we'll help you write code. And there are other products that have done things like fire your entire engineering, fire all your sales team because AI is here, we're gonna do everything. And those companies, some of them are still around, but I would say those companies haven't been as successful because they just can't meet the expectation that they've set their standards on, right? So at least for me and what I've talked to like friends about is it's not that AI isn't useful, is if people are touting it as this thing that's a solution for all these different things. It can solve like writing. You don't need artists, you don't need graphic designers, you don't need engineers anymore, you don't need your doctor anymore. It's just not going to do that. And so if you're spending money, you're funding companies that act like that, is it eventually all these investors can be like, wait, we're not seeing any return, and then they pull funding, and that's when like the job market starts slowing down. It's harder to get companies funded. And so I think a lot of us are a little worried about that, or at least are thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then obviously we talk about our like common interests, and like you said, like a lot of us are like really passionate about things. It's obviously like a tech bro thing to like climb, to I don't know what else are tech bros into. Drive Teslas.
Medicine bros are also into climbing.
yeah, a lot of overlap. Yeah.
Really, just bros in general.
It's funny because our friends that just moved to Montreal, right? I met him at the climbing gym, and then I was like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, software engineer. I'm like, oh, what are you coding? Like, oh, Java. What the heck? Me too. And then recently, I always meet software engineers. I don't meet doctors as much, but I'm sure if I went.
Well, who was he married to?
He was married to a doctor. Another classic.
There you go.
Another classic pairing.
Yeah.
Any other last questions? Are you good?
I'm good.
All right. Our last segment. It's always non-work related, but we both moved to LA a year ago, and I'll ask you first. How do you feel like LA has changed you the most?
Okay. First of all, sun coverage. I grew up in Texas, which has a lot of sun. Like, you can feel the sun. The Texas sun is like a hug, like physical sensation of it. Like if it's sunny, you feel it on your skin. But that also means you avoid the sun, so you're always inside in AC, whatever. So growing up, also as a child, you're not like, where's my sunscreen? I need to protect my skin. So I think sun coverage, I'm more aware of my sun exposure because it's so nice outside. So you want to be outside more, so you get more sun coverage. LA is always sunny, and it also gets warm, but like it's actually nice to be outside. So my sun protection game has definitely improved.
That's true.
Yeah, I will wear a hat even though it is not always the most fashionable accessory, and it will ruin your hair. And then I guess, I drink a lot of matcha now.
You make your own?
I make my own at home.
You bought these fancy cups?
I bought these cups
Just to make...
only to make matcha in them because I want to admire the bright green color of fancy matcha.
The Shrekness.
Yes, especially because it reminds me of Shrek. But LA has the best matcha game.
It's true.
In the United States, probably.
We had a friend of a friend.
Probably in North America. Probably in this side of the world.
Yeah, the Western Hemisphere.
The Western Hemisphere, LA has the best matcha game. Confirmed.
No, I will say.
By SF people.
What about this? So, we know a lot of Japanese people moved to South America for reasons. Their matcha game is probably pretty strong.
I've never been there. I don't know.
Yeah, but I was gonna say we have a friend of a friend who came from SF, and she was visiting her friend here, and she got matcha like twice a day, every day?
Twice a day while she was here.
Every day, but I mean she was only here for 2 or 3 days. But
no, she was here for like 4 days.
But twice a day, that's
twice
crazy.
Twice a day for 4 days. New places, different places.
Yeah.
All of which have great matcha. You do have to go to the right places, though. You need people in the know.
Yeah.
What else? How else has LA changed me? I know one. This one's kind of sad, but a good cocktail is worth $16. Okay? I would rather pay $16 for a good cocktail than $10 for a bad cocktail.
Okay, not to put you on blast, but when you pay $25 for chocolate?
I think we both know the answer to that question.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Do you have any more? Should I go?
I think those are the big three.
Okay.
I know the value of a good cocktail now.
Let me take 1 second to think of like how I feel like LA has changed you. I mean, there's some really obvious ones. One being like we're not close to your family as much, and so I guess obviously there's cons to that, but one nice thing is they've flown over a bunch of times and we got to fly your parents out to SF, and that was a lot of fun. It's interesting for me.
That's not because of LA.
Kind of.
It's the distance.
That's true. Okay.
Gotta see them family.
Yeah, honestly, just maybe matcha is a really big one, to be honest. You haven't like changed your wardrobe too much, because definitely from Dallas to LA, big change. So
easy transition. I just pack my winter stuff away.
Yeah, that hasn't been that much, but you haven't like bought like new things to try to like blend into that like crowd. Yeah, I feel like not too many changes, which is good. It means you're still you.
Wow.
But I was gonna.
How's LA changed you?
Yeah, I was gonna go. So, I was thinking about this. Just because we live so close to the Dodgers, I'm not like a huge baseball fan, but I'm just so much more interested in baseball than I was before, because we literally have one of the best players possibly of all time. we can walk to Dodgers games. And you know, I've been to now like 4 or 5 games, and I just want to. I'm on the perpetual search for a Dodgers T-shirt that's organic cotton and looks cool, and all these things. Still haven't found it yet, but I'm still on the lookout. So,
Yeah.
baseball, I would say. And when I thought about it, it's not because of LA, but a lot of things in my life have changed since we moved in the past year. Found a new job. It's non-corporate. I'm not like around like any of my old friends, and so it's not necessarily because of LA, but I do feel like I've changed a lot. And I guess a couple examples. You probably noticed this, but I like feel more energized by work than I have maybe in the past year or two. So that's been nice. I don't think I've been a ton more active. I dress slightly better now.
You're pretty active.
I'm not, but more active than before. I feel like it's the same in Dallas, but I dress better now. Kind of because of LA, kind of just because I've been dress coded at restaurants and bars a few too many times.
Directly because of LA.
No, it only happened once in LA, I think.
It's never happened to you before in your life.
Yeah, but once.
Oh, that was in SF. Yeah.
Once was. Wait, was it in SF? No, once was Vegas.
Oh, Vegas.
And then LA when we went to that club in K-Town.
Yeah.
Is that just 2?
It was those 2.
It's just 2. Okay, yeah. So partly because of LA.
Maybe that's how LA changed you. You've become more casual in your dressing. And then they checked you. They were like, dude.
You know what changed me?
LA, the West Coast is like chill and relaxed, right?
Yeah. No, you know what changed me is you bought me Crocs, and then I started wearing them way too much, and then I went unemployed, so then I had no reason to wear other things. So I was just wearing Crocs was like 90% of my footwear for like a year and a half, and even now that I have a job, it's still like.
And you do have 2 pairs of Crocs.
And I have 2 pairs of Crocs,
Yeah.
So that's kind of on you. But have you noticed anything different?
Yes.
Okay.
I've noticed many things.
Wow. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Go.
I think LA has facilitated your like emphasis on like natural materials, on being more eco-friendly, on buying organic foods, just because that's the LA culture, the California culture is that. So I think you were heading there already.
Okay.
But
That's fair.
LA has facilitated that, and there's like a bunch of stores that cater to that, a lot of brands that cater to that, and yeah, so they definitely have facilitated that.
And one big thing that people probably would never have expected is LA has helped me drive way less.
Yeah.
I drive, everyone's talking about LA traffic, you need a car, blah, blah, blah. I think, yeah, if you want to like get out to hikes, obviously you need a car. No amount of public transit will ever take you like 1 hour to a mountain.
Yeah.
But I probably drive on average 30 minutes a week. I never fill up my gas. I let my cousin take my car out for a week and a half,
Yeah.
and haven't really missed it at all. Public transit, you can make it work.
Yeah.
And it's nice outside. Also, it's really nice outside, so.
Yeah. I do have a car that I use all the time.
Yeah, but I think it's because the hospital is in kind of a rougher area that you don't want to walk to.
That's true.
I think you could.
It's also like highways. There's
Yeah.
a lot of like, I can't safely walk to work.
Yeah.
I could take the bus, but it would take forever.
Yeah, agreed. Well, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Okay.